There you go. Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Jennifer, and we are a middle-aged couple with technological difficulties and a deep and unrelenting fetish for movie theater popcorn.
I gotta tell you, the popcorn keeps me coming back.
And it's not even the best popcorn.
No, it's not. The popcorn at Elmo is better.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we went and saw a movie, which is what we do.
It was the mystery movie, Monday Mystery Movie.
And we make a video for every movie we see in 2026 together. Or if we see the same movie at different times. This time we saw it together, whatever. I'm just blathering. I'm trying to fill time, which it might give you a sense of what this movie is like, because this is the most boring movie we've seen since The Mastermind.
Although we walked
Also
out
a
of the
mystery movie.
we walked out of the Mastermind and we watched the entirety of this movie because, at least on my part, I knew it was an hour and 37 minutes long.
I turned and looked at her and I was like, should we go? And she said, no, I want to see how this train wreck happens.
Yep.
How did the train wreck happen?
There wasn't even a train wreck.
Yeah.
Like, that even was like, oh yeah. Anywho, what's the name of the movie?
Fantasy Life.
This movie is called Fantasy Life.
God knows why.
So when we were trying to decide, are we actually going to go to this movie or not, we were trying to scope out about what movie it might be. And I'm like, I wonder if this is another one of the mystery movies where it's not a movie that's already on their app. So you just literally couldn't even possibly guess. And that was actually the case. It was a movie I have never heard of, had no indication that this was a thing. And
I thought it was going to be the drama. And guess what? This movie had no drama.
Well, right. But the drama is coming out weeks from now. It has two hot people in it, and people are going to pay to see it. So it's not going to be a mystery movie.
This movie didn't. This doesn't have anything. I don't know what it has. It has aging actors.
It has some actors.
Owe somebody a favor.
Or something. It has some actors you haven't seen in a while. It has
Judd Hirsch. It's got Bob Balaban. It's got Andrea Martin.
Holland Taylor,
who
you maybe have seen more recently.
Who's in the film for what, 35 seconds?
Yeah, but she got paid.
Sure.
Alessandro Nivola, but the movie is basically Amanda Peat and this dude that I've never heard of named Matthew Shear.
Matthew Shear, who wrote and directed it.
And
starred in it.
Gave himself a starring role, and. Yeah, it's basically a year in the life of a really neurotic, maybe 30-year-old dude.
He's a nebbish, because we've never made a movie about a nebbish before.
Sure, that's fine. I can live in that universe, but it's a really boring year for a guy who basically starts the movie having a panic attack in public and losing a very uninspired job that you find out later is probably beneath his qualifications, and perhaps the life he thinks he's entitled to have.
I don't even think he felt that he was entitled to have anything.
Well, that somebody else assumed based on his class background and where he went to school that this was the kind of life that he would have. And he didn't. You see that at the beginning of the movie. Yeah. And he ends up as the Manny for a inexplicably rich, living in New York couple who are in their early 50s, one of whom is a wannabe rock star and one of whom is an actress whose lights have faded. And then there are three bratty little daughters who kind of at no point have any redeeming features or qualities.
They're never allowed to have
but
anything
they don't really have personalities in the movie.
Right. Their entire purpose is to be annoying and problematic.
And need care. And so he ends up falling into
the theme of the movie, if this movie has a theme, is that everybody needs care.
I suppose, yeah. And that's actually kind of a positive theme.
Sure.
And people don't get the care that they need, and then they live fucked up lives because of it. I guess that's a thing. I read one review of this. This movie was at South by Southwest, and so it was reviewed after that called it a comedy and described it over and over again as a comedy. And
There is one
there
funny
are a couple
scene.
of like lines and bits that are supposed to be funny, and a couple that legitimately are funny. But this is a horror show as far as I was concerned. Not because it was a bad movie, but like, yes, I thought it was a bad movie, but the horror show of it was like, this guy who can barely function, who ends up in a situation with somebody who apparently needs to take advantage of somebody who can barely function, maybe. And then will they or won't they take advantage of somebody who can barely function? And they do, but not in the way that you think they will. And it's just like kind of fucked up.
It's incredibly slow paced.
And it's slow. There's all sorts. Again, it's a year in the life, but it's basically episodes that are labeled by season.
Yeah.
And, so the family kind of moves around. Sometimes they're in Martha's Vineyard in the summer, and, they're in the city in the fall, and, in the winter and stuff. Excuse me. So the scenery kind of changes, but like they're just kind of talking to each other. There's no like goal or narrative drama or anything. There's a whole lot of discussion of psychiatric medicine. And, which, to be fair, it's like, yep, some of the drug combinations they talked about, I took. But, it just wasn't that interesting. They weren't that compelling.
It's a movie about depression, and to make a good movie about depression, you need more than this.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just show people being depressed.
Right. And, it's like some of them are depressed and some of them are just people, like talking about people things and stuff. And yeah, it's like I felt like it was the inverse of Sentimental Value, which is a movie about people talking to each other about people stuff sometimes. But when they're talking about people stuff, you also know that they're actually talking about this like deep, fraught shit as well. And sometimes the deep, fraught shit actually pops out, right? But you get that sense that there's this deep fraughtness to it, to kind of banal conversations or conversations about acting or whatever, and you realize there's more to it, partially by the quality of the dialogue and the quality of the acting. And I don't get that there was anything underneath this except all the parts of the things that happened across the year that you just don't see. And then it's like, yeah, all of a sudden it's like the next fall, and like, dude seems like he's in a much better place. He's just in a better place.
Sure.
maybe.
Except we can find out nothing about that place.
Yes. Or how he got there.
He has a girlfriend that he met on Hinge. Could be lying.
Could be lying, that he's living with his parents in Connecticut and not living in the city anymore, which is, to my mind, like where it seemed like he was so unfunctional should have been where he was the year before at the beginning of the movie, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening for a whole bunch of different characters that are like just these little ancillary characters that you see little bits of. And then the two main characters that you see a lot of, you also don't understand what's going on in their heads. You don't understand what they're doing, what they say they're doing, and what they actually do don't add up. And it's not a comedy, and even though it seems to be advertised as one, it is described as, to me it should be like tragedy, it's not even tragedy. It's just like stuff.
Nothing tragic happens.
I mean, their lives are tragic in the sense that they're just like waste.
Falling down, like there's no fall.
Yeah.
There's no like tragic downfall.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess things are sad, and I guess they're just going to continue to be sad.
Yeah.
And there's no moment in the film where you think there are any stakes. Like, nobody actually feels like they're accomplishing anything.
But there are negative stakes. There's like a climactic argument. No. There's this climactic argument where like the older couple are arguing at dinner.
Yeah.
The dude's drunk. They're on Martha's Vineyard, which presumably like not well lit like roads, whatever. He gets drunk, he drives off.
And we get the
like,
one funny line in the entire movie, which I'm not going to spoil.
Oh, I don't even know what line you mean.
He got drunk and drove off and drove into a landmarked post office.
Landmarked post office. So
yes.
the point to make about this...
I'm going to spoil the best line in the movie.
Of course, because who's going to see it? This should be this like climactically tense thing. And instead, and that's happening in the summer, instead he drives off, fade to black, the title says fall. Mm-hmm. It's moved on to a different season.
Yeah.
So presumably it's like weeks or months since this accident. And then like there should be big stakes to like you find out that he like fractured his neck.
Yeah.
But then it turns out he's like acting like he has a brain injury as opposed to a physical injury. And is like, it's all off stage. Right? Like the whole family's life has changed partially because of this. He's moved out. He's living with his parents. The kids don't know how to react to him because they haven't seen him because he's broken, right? Like that's a huge like traumatic change in a family's life.
I feel like this
and the movie's not interested in it.
I feel like this device where you cut to a point in the future, like some large distance into the future, and then we get to see how things have changed. That can be really effective in a movie if things have actually changed a great deal. Like if you cut to them and the husband's nowhere to be found, and you're like, oh shit, did he die in that accident? Like, that would have been drama. That would have been like something. Instead we get, oh, he's just more of a sad sack than he was before. And he's a useless parasite because he was always a useless parasite. Like,
he's either a useless parasite or he was the only one that actually was trying to do something with his day on occasion.
That's true.
And now he can't do that, right? Yeah. And so it actually could be tragic, right? But we don't see.
Except the guy's a dick. You don't like him.
Except he's a dick. But it's like you also don't see any of that, right? Like that's like people reorienting their existence, right? And trying to figure out what they do next. And because the other thing is the consequence of this climactic argument that they had, right? Like it's not just his physical injury, but it's like they kind of broke the relationship and then they kind of broke him. And then the consequence of that is all off stage. And then you see them like tentatively trying to like be together, reconnect. Yeah. And then that's the last time you see him, right?
But you can tell that both of them are just like, whatever. I guess we'll get back together.
So here's the thing. With better, I don't know whether it's dialogue or actors or direction or all of those, you could say those same lines and either have a sense of like he is like this emotionally stunted bro dude, right? Who can't ask for like love or support or anything like that. And so he's like saying stuff like, do you want me back? I'm broken. The kids don't want me back. Well, the kids want me back. I'm broken. That is literally what people ask in those situations.
Sure.
When they have a serious like destabilizing physical change and like they break up, or the relationship starts to fall apart. Like that's a huge thing, right? And, when the relationship was falling apart to begin with, she could be sticking with him because she feels like she should, as opposed to she really wants to. And you put the cast of Sentimental Value doing that, you would have had an idea from their faces and their line reading.
Fair enough.
Some of those things. So, these guys, not a clue.
The movie got compared to the movies of Noah Baumbach, and I feel like it's an apt comparison, except that Noah Baumbach knows how to like make these things feel like they have stakes.
I've never seen a Noah Baumbach movie.
It makes movies about depression, and you actually can feel it, and like you feel like there's something to lose. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to lose here.
Yeah.
And like nobody ever has anything that's worth saving, and then they try to save it anyway, and then they're like, ugh, why did I bother? That's what this movie is. And I compared it to a Wes Anderson movie I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan. And the thing about Wes Anderson movies is that he knows that if you're going to make movies about depression, you got to put jokes in them. You got to put colors and fancy costumes and crazy flamboyant characters. That's how it works, like for Wes Anderson, and he makes it work. And this movie just doesn't even have jokes. It's supposedly a comedy. I would have called it a drama.
I would have absolutely called it drama.
But there's no drama.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a comedy. I guess nobody has respect for comedy. Well, fine, but put some damn jokes in your movie.
Yeah.
I get where they thought some of it was funny, but often it was funny at the expense of a character who was already a schlemiel.
Mm-hmm.
And just this poor guy with his panic attacks, and they're constantly putting him in these positions of responsibility with these kids, and he fails. And God, what a surprise. He just...
But it's like, it could also be a story of, like, if it were legitimately a comedy, like, the first night that he's, like, babysitting these kids, like, some of the experiences that he had, I have literally had, right? And you could play that for funny, right? Like, you're responsible for these kids, and then all of a sudden you step on something and you are gushing blood out of your foot, right? Like, how am I don't know how to keep children alive, and now I obviously cannot keep my physical self together.
Yeah.
I can't figure out how to do this stuff. Like,
but
that's
make
funny.
that scene bigger. Make that scene more terrifying. Make it more dramatic. Something. Make
more
him feel
dramatic,
like,
more funny, more,
Put this guy in a position where he's like, oh my God, I have been reduced to this job that is so far beneath me, and now I still can't do it. Like, give him pathos.
Yeah.
Give him bathos. Make this a melodrama. Anything.
Yeah.
Rather than just to have depressed people walking around depressed in empty houses, being depressed, and then talking about how depressed they are, and then doing nothing about it, and then saying, oh, but I guess I have you in my life. Who, me? I'm depressed too. Well, at least we're depressed together. It's just so slow and just pointless.
Yeah.
And I walked out of there thinking, did anybody who was making this movie, did any of them stop and think for a second, why are we making this movie?
Obviously they did. That's the thing that, is like, I don't want to dislike movies because too many people have to make something like this happen. Like somebody, the guy who's the star wrote the movie and directed it, right?
Yes.
Like, it's his directorial debut. He wrote this movie. This is a passion project, right? Like, and I don't, like, it didn't reach me, right? Like, I don't get it.
And I gotta say, we walked out and we said, if this had been part of like a regional film festival, like the Kew Gardens Film Festival that we go to now, we would have been like, oh my God, that was amazing. Yeah. That was the best thing we saw
because we expected so little, and,
But this has Judd Hirsch and Bob Balaban and Andrea Martin in it.
And Amanda Peat.
So many actors and actresses you remember from a generation, 2 generations ago.
Yep.
And it just is such a waste of their talent. I don't know. I don't want to harsh... You're right. I don't want to harsh too much on this movie because clearly it was a labor of love. But I don't think anybody's going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to walk away from this movie thinking, oh, what a great experience.
Obviously, I'm not the one to ask because I went to see The Mastermind. I walked out. People are like, that movie's amazing. Yeah. It's going to get nominated for awards. Like, it didn't.
Fantasy Life got a special prize? Jury prize.
It got some kind of prize at South by Southwest. Now, I don't know anything about South by Southwest to know, like, what really that means, but it was shown at South by Southwest and then picked up for distribution. Like, that's how we saw it.
This is true.
And Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie,
which
whatever,
was great,
was also at that same South by Southwest and got picked up for distribution in the U.S. And, like, I would watch that again, right? Like, I enjoyed it. I would watch that again. This movie, I'm not going to remember having seen it in 2 weeks.
The band, the movie, or whatever, probably had a smaller budget than this movie. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
But it had so much more heart.
Yep.
And just so much more fun.
Yep.
It just... There was something...
A movie doesn't have to be fun. A movie can be utterly heart-wrenching. But
yeah,
like,
don't get me
yeah.
wrong. By fun, I don't mean like
Ha-ha.
good times, laugh all summer long, blockbuster movie. I mean, something about the movie that compels you to watch
It's compelling. Yeah.
Like, just even a great performance. And people praised Amanda Peat's performance in this. She's fine. I mean, she's a good actor.
Yeah.
And she put something into this film. There's a scene where she's auditioning for some bizarre science fiction movie that I love it. As a science fiction writer, I love it when I watch a movie and they do a script for a science fiction movie that I clearly have never, ever watched a science fiction movie or thought about science fiction for more than 2 seconds. But they're like, oh no, that's easy. Science fiction is dumb. Anyway, but Amanda Peat is doing this intentionally awful script, and she's selling it. You believe, you're like, oh shit, she actually has talent.
Yep.
This character, not just Amanda Peat, but the character in the movie, has real talent. She's bringing something to this film. Matthew Shear does not. Matthew Shear just fumbles his way through the whole thing.
Which is the character, right? But like, there's another spot where, Amanda Peat has this monologue about being a middle-aged actress in Hollywood, and like, feeling that her time has passed and stuff. And like, that felt super real. Like, partially maybe because it is super real, right? When's the last time you saw her in anything? Like, she's one of those actresses who, like, I know her name, but I couldn't tell you what I've seen her in. You know what I mean? Like, even when she was more popular, I couldn't tell you what it was I've seen her in, but like, I recognized her, and because I didn't know she was in it. I didn't know anything about this movie, right? But I'm like, oh yeah, that's Amanda Peat. Like, I haven't seen her in a while, and like, why wouldn't I have seen her in a while? Because she's been in her 40s that whole time I didn't see her, and nobody casts people in their 40s because they can't figure out what to do with them. So like, it felt very real, and she sold that. But like, there were little bits like that, but it didn't really add up to like a real like performance.
Yeah. All right.
Unfortunately. Sorry.
We don't need to talk more about this film.
No, we do not.
We don't recommend it, but
nope.
You make up your own mind.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll see you again another day.
Next time.